Hello Sharks, I am Jonathan Little here today with a hand for PokerNews.com played between two legends of poker. We have Phil Hellmuth against Daniel Negreanu. Phil Hellmuth is a practitioner of magic and mystery and mayhem. He gets in there, he battles. He has 15 World Series of Poker bracelets. He's playing against Daniel Negreanu, Kid Poker, who plays that newfangled GTO style of poker. Let's take a look at this interesting hand. In this scenario, Daniel Negreanu raises, and Phil Hellmuth playing 51 big blinds deep, opts to call with a 2 and a 2. It's a pretty good hand. Flop comes 4-4-4. 2-2 and 4-4-4 makes a full house, 4s over 2s. Phil Hellmuth opts to check. Daniel Negreanu bets 1,600, small continuation bet. You may say, why would he bet so small? Isn't that suspicious? Not really. This is a spot where the person who had the pre-flop range advantage still has the range advantage on the flop because they have a whole bunch of big pairs, right? Obviously, Hellmuth could have some pairs, but more often than not, Hellmuth's going to have just nothing in this scenario. And if he has nothing and Negreanu has, well, even a hand like ace high, the nothing's in pretty bad shape. So this is a spot where Negreanu should be betting pretty frequently and small. And Phil Hellmuth opts to check, raise it up, bump it up. He makes it 7,000, and Negreanu calls. All right. So look, when you check raise to 7,000, Phil, Negreanu is going to fold out a lot of hands that are in pretty bad shape. However, he is going to call with literally every single hand that beats you. Do you think Negreanu is going to fold any full house? Obviously not. He's also not going to fold if he has a 4, and Negreanu could have some 4s. He would definitely raise with ace 4, king 4, queen 4, jack 4, like all of them pretty much. Negreanu is pretty loose and aggressive pre-flop. So while I get the idea of check raising over the small bet, I don't think you have to go this big, because if Negreanu is sitting here with like 10-9, he's just going to fold to even a 6,000 bet in this scenario, I think. Because notice Hellmuth could just have the 4, right? So now, Hellmuth does something interesting that I am completely inexperienced at. He says, after he gets check called, check in the dark. What happened? What happened? Oh, an overcard came. Who'd have thought? And now Negreanu bets 10,000 into the 21,000 pot. This is the trouble with putting in the check raise on the flop with a hand like 2s. Because notice if Hellmuth had a hand like pocket aces, he's in great shape, right? While he does obviously still lose to the 4, which, like I said, Negreanu could have, he beats a lot of other stuff. But whenever Hellmuth has pocket 2s, he really doesn't beat a lot here. So the question is, will Negreanu attempt to run a bluff in this scenario? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. That's the tough thing about playing against those newfangled GTO players, is that they mix it up. Helmuth elects to call, which I think is certainly fine and reasonable. Then, one more time. Please don't be an overcard. Please don't be an overcard. Oh, another overcard. Hellmuth checks, and Negreanu brings the full pain, 40,000 into the 41,000 pot. Pot size bet on the river. After Phil Hellmuth check raises the flop and then check calls a turn, what do you do with the 2 and the 2 in this scenario? I want you to think about the spot, pause the video, and write what you would do in the comment section below. All right, this is a nasty spot. If I was making a quiz for my training site, pokercoaching.com, I would say this is a nasty spot, but I think there is a clear answer. And I think the answer in this scenario is to just fold. Why? Because in this spot, what does it look like Phil Hellmuth has? Well, he check raised the flop. He probably has something. And he check called the turn. He probably has something. I think in this scenario, Phil Hellmuth has a full house or better. Often. So, if Phil Hellmuth kind of clearly has a full house or better, and Negreanu is betting, not a gigantic size, but pretty big, I would venture to say that Negreanu can beat most of the full houses. It's annoying whenever you flop a full house heads up, but I think in the spot, you are beat the vast majority of the time in Hellmuth's shoes. Hellmuth does let it go, while Hellmuth is a wizard. I don't think this one's all that magical. And Negreanu did have the four fours. Plenty of fours that crushed Phil Hellmuth. He had Hellmuth drawing dead right off the bat. And, Hellmuth did well not losing all of his money. This is an interesting spot because if Hellmuth did not check raise the flop and he check called, Negreanu would have bet big on the turn and big on the river. And, probably would have gotten paid off. But I think that would actually be a better spot for Hellmuth because whenever he check calls flop on 4-4-4, he could have all sorts of like ace high, king high, queen high, jack high, like all sorts of stuff to call a small flop bet, right? And then on the turn, because Hellmuth's range is so much weaker, Negreanu can conceivably continue bluffing, right? But when Hellmuth takes this line of check raise on the flop, his range when he check raises is usually going to be much more polarized, usually in the strong manner. And that's going to force Negreanu's range to be stronger, which makes the twos like quite bad in a big pot, but actually really decent in a small pot. Funny enough, if he didn't check raise, Negreanu obviously would not have ended up being able to put in that big river bet because the pot would have been a lot smaller. And I think that would have worked out better for Hellmuth, even though by check calling, sometimes you do end up getting outdrawn. I actually discuss this a lot at my training site, pokercoaching.com. And if you have a smartphone, you can access it in the Poker Coaching app. Check that out at pokercoaching.com/app. There we have interactive hand quizzes, video classes, pre-flop GTO charts, really everything you need to study poker and succeed. So check that out. The app's completely free to download at pokercoaching.com/app. That's going to be it for today. Phil Hellmuth, took a little beating, but he didn't go broke, and, that may work out well for him in the future. Thanks to Poker News for hosting this video. I appreciate it. If you all like this video, click like and subscribe below. Also, click the little notification bell. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers. It's going to be exciting to get to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate all of you being here. Thanks for watching. Good luck in your games, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm talking to you.